Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Risk Media's Agent Webinar Series. I'm Verl Workman with Workman Success Systems, and I'm excited. No, I'm fired up and ready to have some great information shared with all of you today. You know, it's really an exciting time for me as I prepare for these webinars to take a minute and introduce and get to know the presenters and what they're doing in their business. And I'll tell you that I've been doing this for a long time, and I am blown away by the level of excellence that's out there. Both of the presenters today come at the business from a very different perspective. They're both very technology savvy, and they're going to share with us, you know, real true money makers, real estate technology that you must have today to be successful. And I got to tell you that these webinars would not be possible without Risk Media and the great partners that we have that support these webinars. I'm going to encourage everybody to do a couple of things. As you listen to the call, first of all, we've got everybody muted, and we do that because we want to have a really clear recording so you can go back and listen to it again. The second thing I want you to do is make sure you stay to the end. Both of our presenters, both Rob Levy and Rob Zwemmer, have given us unbelievable tools that they want to share with you, and they're going to give these to you absolutely free. At the end of the webinar, I'm going to tell you exactly where to go so you can download those free tools, including Rob's home seller marketing plan and Rob Zwemmer's marketing postcards that are helping him build an unbelievable business, and his listing presentation that helps him list some pretty high-dollar properties that are out there. So make sure you stay to the end. If you have questions, and I hope you all have questions, and a lot of questions, go to your control panel on your GoToWebinar screen in the questions area and type your questions there. During the call itself, I'll be monitoring the questions, and then at appropriate times during the interviews, I'll pause and ask questions. I also encourage our partners from both Homes.com and from Quicken Loans to jump in and ask questions as well. A couple quick housekeeping items. Number one is be attentive. The information that's going to be shared with these superstars today is absolutely phenomenal. I've interviewed a lot of agents from at all levels of business, and I'll tell you that Rob, and they're not brothers, Rob and Rob are going to both share with you some incredible technology tools and tips that you can start using right now in your business to make a difference. You know, when you do $50 million a year in real estate or more, and you've only been doing it 3 or 4 years, like Rob Zwemmer has been, you learn really fast that this guy's a marketer, and he comes from a very different perspective. Rob Levy's been at the top of his game since he's been in real estate, and is going to share with you not only how he got there, but how he stays there. Stay to the very end of the call today, and at the end I'm going to give you some tools that our presenters have so graciously offered to share with you. Rob's going to share his home marketing selling plan, and Rob Zwemmer is going to share with you the postcard marketing that he's sending out to 10,000 people, and his listing presentation that gives him a unique selling advantage, or what I like to call his unfair competitive advantage, when he competes for the business. So very exciting call today. I would also like to thank Risk Media for putting on this agent webinar series. Without their support, these calls would not happen. And also for our partners. I'd first like to introduce Quicken Loans. Quicken Loans is actually a really cool technology company, and Mark Millar is with us, Vice President of Realtor Relations. Mark, welcome, and thanks for being a partner with us on this webinar series.
Hey, thanks. We're looking forward to it today.
You know, it's kind of fun when we were talking about, you know, what we want to accomplish on this call, and that this one had a really strong technology perspective. You said, I know, I got to tell you, Verl, we're not just a loan company. We are a technology company. Tell me more about that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, most people that we do business with, and everybody, our 12,000 folks that run around Detroit and a few other locations in the country, we go by basically a technology company that just happens to do mortgages. We've got over 2,000 team members. We've been ranked the #1 place to work in technology for the last 3 years, 13, 14, and 15. Most everything we build is in-house, you know, so all of our exclusive apps for agents and clients. We've got a dedicated social media team. Again, all back-end technology is created and maintained in-house, a streamlined digital process, 2,000 IT team members that come from about 172 different countries, not 172 different companies they work from, but literally 172 different countries that represent and hang out here in the city of Detroit. Our MyQL platform is really second to none. 24/7 access to all realtors, all clients. If you want any type of information about a loan, the process, the milestones, where appraisal is, where title is, this is something that we built in-house. Electronic signature, we were the first mortgage company to even attempt to try to do that. We built that on our own. Not to say that our friends at dotloop and DocuSign aren't great friends of ours, but we found a way of just doing it ourselves. Quick share and obviously chat function with also Realtor and agents, Realtor agents and clients throughout the entire process. Not to take up too much time, but we're going to have some fun with this, guys. So if you get a chance on Twitter and Instagram, follow us at Quicken Loans. Again, at Quicken Loans. And as Rob and Rob are speaking throughout the afternoon here, we're going to have some fun stuff. We're going to try to do a little video tour, maybe post some photos of the banking floor, post some images of Detroit. So at Quicken Loans, we're going to have some fun while these guys are presenting a great piece. Really excited to be a part of this today. And then we will follow up with a link when we're done on a great promo link that my team is running, $750 off your client's closing costs. So we'll get you actually a code number that you can, when and if you have an opportunity to send a buyer our way, offer a tangible benefit to that client and get $750 off your closing costs.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your support. We're glad that you're here. We love that you're a technology company. Besides being a great technology company, the relationships you have with your agents is, I think, outstanding. And I've got a lot of coaching clients who have done multiple deals with Quicken Loans who have nothing but positive things to say. Hey, Mark, how many leads would you guys say you give out a year to real estate agents from pre-approved buyers?
Well, we've got a couple different family of companies. You know, that number varies, but we are surpassing about 1,000 per month that we send through our in-house realty network, I'm sorry. On the last 2 months, probably in the last 2 to 3 months, we've actually closed going in upwards of about 18,000 loans in about a 3-month stint. So just think 6,000 loans going through an online mortgage lender. No feet on the street, no boots on the ground. Technology is what we do, and you know, obviously with the folks at Homes.com, Rob and Rob, I mean, why not obviously partner yourself with an online lender that just obviously takes technology at the forefront and makes it really easy for the consumer and also our other client, the Realtor, to knock on wood, hopefully make a little bit more money and be a little bit more proficient in what they do every day.
Love it. And thanks again for your partnership. I want to introduce real quick as we get ready to introduce our speakers today. I just want to say hello to Joe Cecil with Homes.com. Talk about technology companies. I don't believe there is a better domain name in all of real estate than Homes.com. If I want to look for a home, I'm going to Homes.com. Joe, how you doing? And thanks for your partnership.
Doing great, Earl. Thanks for having me. It's great to be a part of it. Homes.com is a proud sponsor, and we're always glad to be a part of these events.
I'll tell you, for those of you who don't know Joe, Joe's regional director, national speaker. He's a real estate author. This isn't a guy who's just coming out here to show and you know, throw a little bit of sponsorship at a program. He's a true influencer in the real estate market. He's spoken to literally more than 25,000 realtors on helping them with their web strategy and become more successful. And I personally asked Joe to just share with me a couple of things that Homes.com is doing unique from a technology perspective to tie in with his high-tech tools of the Superstars event today. So Joe, give me a couple quick things that you think Homes.com is doing that's making a difference and giving your agents the unfair advantage.
Absolutely. Well, we have to. In our business, we always have to find ways to differentiate ourselves. We've been able to do that in 3 different ways, Earl. The first is we are the only real estate search portal that also offers a social media management system. It's called Homes.com Social, and what it does is 3 things. Number 1, it's social media management where we actually set up 5 social channels for the agents, and then we also post daily across most of those for them. So we're doing that for them. When they're busy selling real estate, we've got their backs. We got great content we're posting for them. The second thing that we're doing is a reputation manager that's part of this system as well. So basically, we're kind of like the ears and eyes out there for people. When they're out there and somebody posts a review about them, we alert them. When somebody mentions them on social media, we alert them. We also provide templates so that they can easily use to have their happy clients give them great reviews on sites like Yelp and Google Reviews and other popular sites, and we provide them with back-end reports that can kind of show them not only how their visibility is online, but also their competitors as well, and also they can get a review analysis. And finally, it's social education, where people can actually go in and say, hey, you know, for real estate, we know that that continuing education is important. In social media, it's like every 2 months. So that's why we provide free webinars on this, as well as a free newsletter that our customers get for Homes.com Social. The next thing you're looking at right there is preferred listings. Every portal has a preferred listing type product, but what we're doing differently is this. not only do we provide branding for the brokers with their logo, but we're the only one that provides branding for the agents with their photo or personal logo in the main search pages. And we also let agents or brokers put up to 100 photos per listing, so they never have to worry about not having enough photos. And third on that is that we're the only portal that builds a custom video for each one of your listings. We use your MLS photos, your MLS data, Google Maps, daily mortgage rates, and it's professionally narrated, and we do that for each one of our customers' listings on the preferred listing product. The last slide you're going to pull up here is our zip code product. Every major portal has one, but we're the latest one to have it, so a lot of the best zip codes are still available. The best part about it is that 68% of the listings on Homes.com are available for this product. So that means that 68% of those listings, people can actually get on those listings and get leads from them. You can buy your favorite zip code. If it's a zip code you're familiar with or you want to expand your business into a new zip code, you can do that as well. 90% of the Homes.com page views come from consumers who are actively searching for their next home. So you can see it's sold by impressions, but yeah, I mean, it's a great product. It's called Local Connect by Homes.com.
Love it. And Joe, I hear the speed and urgency in your voice because you, like me, you want to get to our presenters today. And I just want you to know that if you haven't checked out Homes.com lately, it's time to go back and have another look. The innovation, the technology, the tools that they're providing are absolutely second to none. And you just have to ask yourself the question, is you want to be found when people search for Homes.com, because that is the best URL in the business. Well, let me jump right in and introduce our speakers today. And I want everybody to check your seats right now. Look down to the left side, look down to the right side, and see if there are straps. And I want you to pull each strap up and buckle up, because we're getting ready to give you some rock-solid information, and we're going to do it at light speed. So you're going to have to buckle up and strap in. Several people have asked, will we make the videos available for everybody at the end of the call? And the answer is, at the end of the call, I'm going to show you where you can download not only the notes of today's session, but a recording of today's call, as well as the gifts that the presenters have prepared for us and so graciously shared. I first want to introduce my friend Rob Levy. Rob, welcome to the call. How are you this afternoon?
Thanks, Phil. Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Great. Well, are you in Portland today, or are you in Palm Springs?
I'm in Portland today. It's too hot down there, bro.
Yeah, but you know, if you're from two great places and have businesses running in both places, let me tell you, I've known Rob for many years, probably almost 20 years. Rob Levy and I go way back, and I've watched him in his business. And I'll tell you one thing that I've learned about Rob Levy is he's one of the givers in the industry. There's a lot of people that build a business, they don't want to share with anybody what's working really well for them, and they're not willing to give. From the first time I met Rob to today, Rob's always been a giver. And Rob, I want you to know that's something I really respect in you and appreciate. And I thank you for not only being here today, but for constantly being willing to share what's helped you stay at the top for so many years in a row.
Oh, thanks, bro. I appreciate that.
So quick bio on Rob. He's been around since 1988 selling houses in Portland. He's been a top agent in Portland, out of 1,300 agents year after year after year. You know, it's kind of interesting when Rob decided he wanted to slow down. His desire was to change his average sales price from $325,000 to $650,000, and he kept doing the same number of transactions. His sales price went up, so his income went up and his sales price went up. I think it was really cool. Rob's one of the founders of one of the most innovative website solutions called Real Pro Systems, and he recently sold it with his partners and created a phenomenal exit. It was really cool to see him be rewarded from all of his hard work and efforts with Real Pro Systems. And one of the things that as I was interviewing Rob, as he's reached this really high level of success in his life and business, I said, Rob, what's really important to you? And he says, being financially in a place where I'm not working for money, it's made me rethink what's important. And the two most important things to Rob are, number one, his wife, and number two, his boys. And I can't even echo my sentiments towards that, because that's how I feel about my family as well. And that's part of what makes you such an amazing individual and not just a great realtor. So Rob, thanks for being here. Welcome to the call. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your team?
Thanks. Just to correct that, if you can go back one previous slide, I think I must have sent the information wrong. The 1,300 agents was when I was with Prudential for 24 years. I'm now with Keller Williams.
Right.
And I was the #1 agent for the last 7 years with them. There's actually about 7,000 agents in Portland, and I'm certainly not the top, but I'm very close to the top. So just to clarify that. So yeah,
thanks for the full disclosure on that. So you're only number one with Keller, and you're in the top of the agents with how many agents in Portland?
No, I was number one when I was with Prudential, and there's about 7,000 agents in Portland, and I don't know where I am, in the top 25 or 30. I don't count that anymore. But I'm number one in my mind, Burl. So as long as
hey, you're number one in my mind too.
So a little bit about my team. So I've kind of done it all. I started as an individual agent, like I'm sure a lot of agents that are on this call right now, and actually got a broker's open one day, and a lady came by and said, "I see your signs all over the place. You really need help," and I'm that person. And that's how I hired my first assistant. And one of the things that I found is that assistant, her name is Karen, and she's still an active realtor today, not with me, but on her own. One of the things I found is that kind of moves you up to the next level because she made me more efficient. Well, then I had even more business. And like you previously said, I've got, at the time at least, I had 3 young boys. And now all of a sudden I was working even harder than I had before Karen. So the next logical step was a buyer's agent. And then, of course, got busy again and kept doing the marketing and another buyer's agent and another buyer's agent. Before I knew it, I had a team of 12. And after a while, it was great. I was making lots of money, and it was all good. But I started to realize it kind of taken the fun out of it all, and there was a huge amount of stress. And so that and I had a little health issue that was kind of a wake-up call last year. Made me reevaluate things and just consider what's important. So I thought, okay, how can I still stay heavily involved in the industry? I love what I do, but just not be on all the time as much. So now it's a much smaller team. There's 2 buyer's agents in the picture there. And then Kathy, my wonderful assistant of many years, and it's just the 4 of us, and that's how I run the team today. That's the Portland team, at least.
That's awesome. So I asked you, I said, Rob, we're going to talk about technology. You've always kind of been my go-to technology guy, and I thought it was kind of interesting what you do from a hardware and software perspective. Tell me about your philosophy towards technology.
I've always been, a lot of realtors kind of joke and say, Rob, you're a nerd with a real estate license. And truthfully, that happened in the Portland market where I am. For instance, the largest employer is Intel with 26,000 engineers. They're all within 5 miles of my office, and they all, none of them have a personality. So that's the type of people that I deal with clients all the time. And one of the things that I learned early on is that technology is a tool, and to really learn to use technology to leverage yourself. And it doesn't matter whether, I was listening to Mark Miller talk about Homes. That's an amazing product, by the way. I didn't realize how much they did. But that sort of product, how much that can do for you. And it's the same thing with hardware. Computers, every 2 years. Lately it's been 2.5 years, but I see agents that have computers that are 4 or 5 years old, and it takes 5 minutes to do a 30-second job. Now, this is a business. Spend as much money as you can on RAM and hard drive space and just replace it, because speed is of the essence in getting things done. Makes you much more productive.
As you evaluate software, what do you look for? I mean, agents chase shiny objects. It seems like whenever you go to a seminar, whenever you go to a webinar, everyone's got their cool thing to sell, and they run around buying everything, and they don't use it.
It's funny you say that, Burl. I just moved. My wife and I, our boys are all out of college now, and we downsized from a very big house to a much smaller home. And I was going through 20 years worth of stuff. I wasn't the average buyer that moved every 12 years. And I found some 5.5-inch floppy disks that I bought at a NAR show, still in the shrink wrap in the original packaging in the back of my closet. And I'm sure I did exactly what you said. I probably even bumped into you walking the halls of the NAR show one year and thought, oh man, this is great, I'll do that, and bought it. And I have had tons of that stuff over the year, and that is a big problem. And one of the ways that I do that, and by the way, I'm a conference junkie. I still attend, say, 3 to 5 conferences every year. And it's a business for me. I literally walk up and down the halls at the NAR show, and I look at every product. And what I've done is I've gotten a group of friends where we get together afterwards, and we evaluate everything that we all found. We narrow it down to about 6. We go back to those booths and visit them, and then we buy 3 of those products and we implement using those products. So I think you got to be careful with the shiny quarter situation in our business. A lot of us are D's and I's, and that doesn't work very well for us. So yeah, that's very, very important as far as evaluating products to use. But as far as what they are, for us it's all about the business. And the business is really only 2 types of clients. There's clients I don't have and clients I already have. And when you asked me who comes first, I put finding clients as number 1 and taking care of clients as number 2. And I thought, man, did I say that wrong? Because really you want to take care of the clients that got you to where you are today. And that's true, but I got to thinking about it, and I thought, no, that probably is right. Because the reality is, a certain number of our clients, and we all do this when we mail out our annual calendar or whatever it is that we're doing, where every now and then we upgrade our mailing list, and we actually find a whole bunch of corrections come back and say, oh man, that guy sold his house and this lady sold her house. And the reality is there is attrition. You know, somebody's sister is now a realtor, or maybe the next door neighbor, or whatever. They don't always use us. So you need to keep filling the hopper with new clients. So I am going to keep finding clients as number one. And for me, that's about 50% of my business is finding clients off of the internet and keep feeding them into the system. Now, we still get a tremendous amount of past repeat and referral business because I still do regular mailings that we'll talk about in a minute to our past clients, but I'm continually trying to find new ones.
I think you're way overanalyzing it. I'm going to call them both number ones.
That's probably a very good idea.
I think they're both right up there as equally as important. Talk to me about your strategy, kind of how you go after that business, how you think about your business.
Well, a couple of things changed, as I said, and you know, Verl, I'm in my late 50s, and my kids are all out of college, and you know, some things aren't as important as they used to be, and I like to go to the gym every morning, and I like to come home and cook a nice dinner for my wife and stuff like that. And so I've tried to figure out how could I be more productive. And one of the ways of doing that is still making the same amount of money was really focusing on more higher-end homes. And some of that, to be honest, is by accident. And I just sat there and, again, analyzed my business. And, yes, maybe I am too analytical. But the reality is when I started in the business, I was, I think, 28, 29, I can't remember actually, but somewhere around there, very early 30s. And the people I was selling homes to, I tend to feel like we tend to sell somewhat of our age group, the majority of our clients. So at the time, I was selling homes to kids, you know, parents from the softball team and the hockey teams and the soccer teams and all that sort of stuff, ski teams. And we were selling houses to people like them. Well, what's happened over the years is I've done a pretty good job of staying in touch with them. And those people, let's be honest here, young families are either going to get married or bigger. If they get bigger, they need a new house. Excuse me, I meant to say divorced. Divorced or bigger. If they get bigger, they need a new house. If they get divorced, then it could be a trifecta where you list the house and sell them too. But the reality that I'm finding now, all these years later, almost 28 years, is that I've got people that are my age that are scaling down, just like my wife and I just did, and also their parents are dying. And as you know, Verl, from reading the statistics, over the next 19 years, 10,000 people a day are turning 65 in the United States. And a lot of those people in that age group, their parents are either dying or moving into assisted living. So I'm finding myself, and I'm also forcing myself to focus now more on my existing clients that are around my age because the houses they're selling are more expensive, and I'm selling their parents' houses, which are more expensive. And sadly, as their parents pass along, the other big statistic right now is it's the largest transfer of wealth in the next 15 to 20 years in the world's history is happening as our parents are dying and passing that wealth along to their children. So that's the market that I'm intending to focus on.
So is that what you call people farming?
I do. Yeah, you asked me one before this interview, you know, send me some of your geographic farms. I don't do that. Now, I know very well my very best friend is your next presenter, Rob Zwemmer, and the reality is he is an absolute expert at geographical farming. I actually don't do any of it at all. I mail to past clients, I mail around listings, sales, stuff like that, and I particularly push on past clients, and that's what I call people farming around the area. But I also mentioned I'm a conference junkie. And so I also people farm realtors all around the nation. I just connect with all different realtors. Yesterday we got $1 million referral from an agent in Miami. Last week we got a referral from, I can't remember where it's from, but an agent just sent me a referral. Yesterday we just closed one from an agent in Bend, Oregon. You know, those are almost, they're gimmies. You know, usually they don't interview anybody else, it's just us.
Right. Let's show some examples of some of the things that you send out and how you like to communicate.
Okay, yeah, this image didn't work out the way I wanted because it's not showing a border, I guess, on that screen with a white background. But what I did is I start sending out information, and being kind of an analytical guy that I am, and again mentioning that our marketplace, the largest employer is Intel. We have companies like Boeing. For every one job at Intel, there are 6 other related jobs. So our marketplace in Greater Portland, which is about 2.3 million people, is significantly heavy on the technology side. Those guys just like statistics. Like I said, no emotions involved. Well, one of the things that I found actually at a conference is a website called KCM, Keeping Current Matters, and I should have written down the price. I can't remember if it was $19.99 a month or $29.99. See, the $20 or $30 a month. They give out all these sort of statistics and infographics and stuff like that. And if you can go back a page, you'll actually see what you're showing there. One more page. where it says equity report, if you can show that one. That's just one example of hundreds and hundreds of things you can send out. I post those to my Facebook business page. I then share it on my personal page, and I also turn it into what you're seeing there as a mailing. That's the front of the mailing, and if you click forward one page, it's the front, actually I guess it's the back of the mailing, and this would be the front of the mailing. And those go out every 3 to 4 weeks to all of my current clients. We talked about people farming. That's the stuff that I send out. And you know, it's kind of low sales push, but it makes stuff happen.
Keeping current matters is the price is insignificant. The data is invaluable.
Yeah, isn't it phenomenal? Yeah. And that is a real estate related company. The guy that owns it, I believe, used to own a bunch of Prudential franchises in New York City. Ro, what you're looking at here is talking about RealPro Systems, and that was a company that, you know, I no longer own the company, but myself and 2 other realtors started it, and we had actually 4 of us ended up running the whole company. We built it up to a company of about 50-plus employees and thousands of users. There may be some on this call. And then last year there was an opportunity for us to exit and actually make the product better by them selling it to, or us selling it to a company that was merging it with a bunch of other products, and we did that. But the reality is that was built around bringing leads to people. And here's the way that I look at it. I live in Portland, Oregon. Virl, if you think that you're moving from where you live to Portland, and let's say here we are in the middle of July and you're thinking about moving next February, the last thing you want to do is talk to a realtor. So even though I may have an amazing website that might be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever on the first page of Google, there's a really good chance you're not going to connect with me because you don't want to talk to me because I'll be all over you. But you are driven to what's called stealth sites. And what RealPro developed really, was one of the first people that did it, was the stealth systems. And what that is when you're searching around, there's a paid ad that would say, get emailed homes as they come on the market, portlandmls.net is one of mine, as a for instance. And people would go to those stealth sites and fill out the form and learn, you know, look at all the houses in Beaverton between 500 and 600 or whatever that are 4+ bedrooms, you know the routine. And then actually RealPro would start emailing them drip emails and drip videos, and of course sending them the listings all at the same time. That's picking up the new clients. And the reality is that's money well spent because those are people that never would have contacted me. So what of course I'm doing is I'm giving information and then I'm bonding with them. Rather than existing clients, I'm bonding with them and giving them the information. And that's a page example. Judy's one of my buyer's agents, so you can see how the leads come through. And this is like one day's worth, maybe 2 days worth. And you can see the leads that came in. And I took out the email addresses because some people in Portland probably on this call. But the reality is, you can see they were looking for homes. One person looked at 19, one person looked at 2. We can see which homes they're looking at. That's new business. And I can tell you on a national level, anywhere from 1 to 12% of those we close. What you're looking at there is a predefined search. So now this is going back to a regular website and making that website very important. So in my case, I've got many pages of predefined searches, and most of the agents that are on this call that have IDX on their website, which is probably all of you, can do this in probably right now. And that's where you go out and you draw a map. For instance, in the city of Portland, there's I think 154 neighborhoods, and each of those have defined boundaries. So with the mouse, I drew the line around the individual neighborhoods and created a page on my website. So poof, I had 154 more pages on my website. Obviously, I did that for all of the other local cities too, but the reality is I can promote those pages and people are driven to them with information on the neighborhood, and if you were to scroll down, which you can't, you'd see all of the listings that popped up within that octagon. What you're looking at there is another thing. This is interesting. So mobile technology, what people don't realize, I've read a couple of stats recently, and I'm sure Mark can back this up, 70-something% of buyers looking for homes now look on a mobile website, or excuse me, on a mobile device. And that mobile device, generally speaking, is an iPhone, Android, something like that. So my question to every agent at the end of this call is, when you're done, go to your website, whatever it is, on your iPhone or whatever you're using, and see how it looks. I can tell you that in most cases, it's a regular website squished up to fit on a phone, and that's not what buyers are looking for. And so people say, well, I don't really need an app or a web-enabled mobile device. And yes, you do, and here's why. Because what people are downloading is they're downloading Zillow.com and Trulia.com and even Realtor.com. And yes, they show all the listings around where they are, but it's all got the listing agent's name on them. The more modern ones, like the one that I'm using through IDX Broker and RealPro Systems, if you were in Portland and went to roblevy.com, it would automatically censor on a mobile device without downloading an app. And when you click on search, it shows all the homes right around where you are. Now, obviously, it wouldn't work in your city. It would only work in Portland for me. But the concept of what you're looking at there, I was actually sitting at my office when I did this picture, and it shows all of the homes around my office on a mobile device without an app with my name on every one of them because they're looking at IDX data. Very, very, very important now because so many people are looking on phones and mobile devices.
Yeah, so true. Rob, you're doing some stuff with Facebook, retargeting and targeted marketing. Give me a little snapshot of what you're doing with Facebook.
Well, Facebook's really changed things a lot, and one thing I didn't talk about when you and I were talking before that I want to make sure you hit me on is video, because there's some big changes coming to that too. But target marketing on Facebook has become a big deal, and what we're doing is doing, and I think we've got some images here coming up, but certain types of searches and stuff that we can do, and then promoting those as ads. And if you can go back one page for 1 sec there, Roll. And so what we're doing is we're drilling down. What people don't realize is that, you know how when we fill out forms all the time online and there's questions at the end, would you mind telling us how many people live in your house, how much money do you make? All of that stuff goes to one giant company. 60 Minutes did an article on them called Epsilon. Epsilon sells all that data to other companies, and Facebook is now one of them that buys them. So you can drill down in personality traits and all sorts of stuff within Facebook and find out who owns a house, who doesn't own a house, who makes this much money, who's lived in this area, who's indicated they want to buy a house in the next 6 months, and all sorts of stuff. And you can drill down and then only promote your ads to those people. So as a for instance, if you can go to the next slide now, one of the things I was out showing, a very good friend of mine, actually, his wife passed away, and he wanted to find a house on a single level. With a master on the main, master on the main. So we did a search in the MLS, and he and I were tooling around, and believe it or not, that picture was a master on the main. And what it was a 3-level townhouse on the side of the hill, and you came in the top door at the top and walked down to the bottom. Well, remember a moment ago I was talking about IDX searches, that you can do saved searches for neighborhoods? You can also do it for all of the houses on the lake, all of the houses with a view. One of the options, obviously, is all of the houses with a master on the main floor. So I turned that into an ad. And you can see what it says, tired of climbing stairs, do you need a master on the main? Click here to see it. Well, what would happen if somebody clicked on that ad is they'd see all of the houses in Beaverton and Tigard with a master on the main floor. I then promoted that ad, and at the very bottom on the left above the orange line, you can see that reached 11,532 people. And to take that a step farther, on the top right on this slide, you can see that I spent $100 on it. 254 people took actions off that. And right below it shows that 135 people liked that photo. 50 people clicked on the link to look at houses. 4 other people liked the page. Those are now additional people that will get all of my advertising from my Facebook business page for $100, bro. And I reached 11,448 people. The next one's an even better example. I sold the house actually of a star Oregon State football player, and that was the view from his home. And that one, and I was a little more careful on this one. If you'll notice the way I wrote this out, and by the way, I've tested this different ways. And this one was like, it's all about the view in Portland, but notice I capitalized every word. And the click here was capitalized and stuff like that. And then it promotes that link. And in this particular one, I was trying to sell the view. And if they clicked on that link, it would take them to all the houses with a view. I stepped up. I got a little more, a little more courage on this one. I spent $477, as you can see, but 1,096 people took actions. 33,000 took it. But look at the stats. 555 people liked that post. What that means is 555 people's friends saw that 555 people liked the post. So my information was getting out everywhere. 20 people shared the picture. 26 people liked the page. That means that's more people that were friends of the Rob Levy team Facebook business page. And 168 people clicked on those links. This stuff really works, but you've got to be able to drill down to the right amount of people. I wouldn't have sent that to everybody. That was just people in certain areas. I then take oh, thanks. It really works. And you got to play with it. Sometimes you get results and sometimes you don't. And you got to think of how you're drilling down. And the things that Facebook does, for instance, if you choose, say, Portland, it'll automatically assume you want to go 25 miles from beyond the border. I don't necessarily want to go 25 miles outside of Portland, so you need to change that and things like that. This one is the same type of KCM product that we talked about before. But in this case, you can take those, save them as an image, and promote them on your Facebook business page, and then go to your personal page and like the Facebook business page. And again, I promoted this post, and you can see 1,629 people saw that, coming from, if you look at the top, the Rob Levy team. So that was from my Facebook business page.
This is all keeping current matters, right?
It is, yeah, just taking their images. I'm not smart enough to create that stuff myself. But yeah, that's another one, just another example. And okay, that's just showing. Yeah, I mean, I threw $5 at this one. I put, and look what happened. I reached 717 people saw it. Yeah, there's a class that I took years ago at the U.S. Post Office, and they talked about sending postcards versus letters. And they said they did a study, it probably cost millions of dollars, and they found out that when we grab our mail, we do the same thing. We spend 4.4 seconds looking at every piece of mail before we toss it or put it in the bills to be paid file or whatever. It's the same thing with this sort of stuff. I don't really care whether these people took actions. All I know is 717 people saw my information.
Rob, we're winding up on time. Real quick,
okay.
Opinions on Zillow and Trulia.
I've had trouble. I know there's agents on this call, I'm sure, that are making tons of money off of it. I have not. We are preferred agents. I just this morning canceled yet another zip code where I was spending $530 a month, and all I got were people looking for $29,000 mobile homes. I've just not been able to turn that into cash. I know you were asking me to speak about it more. For me, it's not worked out well for us at all, and I'm choosing to focus my money on the stuff we just went over.
No, I think that's great. I think that's great, and more and more people are focused more on the reviews today than they are on just the spend.
Yeah, we just started doing that, and I need to correct this because a lot of my sales go through my buyer's agent's numbers, and also it doesn't count the Palm Springs business, so that 60 is not correct. But we're starting to finally push some reviews through and asking clients. I'm actually bribing them with $20 Facebook business or Facebook gift. God, Facebook. I'm talking too fast. Starbucks gift cards if they'll go in and give us a good review. So we started doing that to get those reviews up on Zillow and Trulia. Although Zillow, I think, is more important. And now I know that Homes.com is important. Yelp is interesting. Now, Yelp is an interesting one. That's interesting because there's tons of realtors that are on there. And what I found is just by getting 3 reviews, you can see what I had there, all of a sudden, I'm up near the top of the list. I'm on the first or second page. But more importantly, what I found is that they work with Siri. So if I said, find me a realtor in Portland, Oregon, to Siri, it'll just pull up stuff from Google. If I say, find me a great realtor, using the word great, Siri recognizes that, has a deal with Yelp, and will pull up the Yelp reviews. So it'll actually come back with the top 3, and I'm one of them. So we're starting to find some people come through Yelp as well.
A lot of cool stuff. Give me your staples of technology real quick.
Top Producer, been a big user since day one, 1988. Always use that for my existing clients. IDX Broker, built into RealPro systems. Huge fan, not just because I created it, but because it works. Realtor.com, Zillow, using it somewhat. Web-enabled mobile search, that's the page that I showed you. That's huge and going to get huger. And videos. I didn't talk about it, but we send out video emails as a part of our Drip email system, and I'm also putting them on the site, and then David Knox's videos. So for instance, preparing your home to sell, I forget the names of them, but there's several out there for buyers and stuff too. Anything we can do to educate the public is going to make us look smarter. This is another, I think, $30 a month. I mean, I know all those 30s add up, but that's a $30 well spent.
Love it. A lot of cool things. Here's a screenshot of Keeping Current Matters where you can try it for free. One quick question I'm going to just ask you before we introduce Rob Zwemmer. Wow. I mean, Rob, we could do 2 hours just going through and drilling down on each of these topics, but I want to give people kind of a high level of how you think and interact. But why do you promote or boost a post on Facebook rather than doing Facebook ads?
It depends on what it is. So one of the things I've been doing lately is trying to get people to like what's all about Portland. And Portland is all about drinking beer and riding bikes and snow skiing and going to the beach and stuff like that. And those ones I boost. The ads that I create, I promote. And so that's the one where you're going to spend the money and it's going to reach more people in different areas. It seems to work better.
Right. Joe or Mark, any quick questions for Rob?
Joe, you got any out there?
Yeah, I got a question, Rob. Do you have any experience with Google reviews? Any success there, getting people to actually post Google reviews about you guys?
You know, that one just seems to have fallen apart. I don't know really anybody that's doing that, and I belong to several different groups around the country. They just did not hit a home run with that at all. I did do some stuff with it. It never amounted to anything, and I found it to be kind of a big time waster. I could be totally wrong on that, but that's just me.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen that have questions that are posting on the message board, I may not be able to get to all the questions today because I want to make sure you hear from Rob Zwemmer as well. So we'll take all of your questions post the webinar, and we'll post them on our blog with answers from the presenters. So stay tuned as we introduce Rob Zwemmer. Rob, can you hear me okay? How are you doing this afternoon?
Hey, I'm doing great, Burl. Thank you for having me today.
Hey, I'm glad you're here. I wanted to say Dag.
Goedemiddag. Actually, for for the listeners, they're gonna hear a little accent. Actually, I came in from Holland, and Burl has some family there as well. So yeah, about 15 years ago, I got the opportunity to come to this country. So.
Well, we're glad you're here. And let me just give you everybody a little bit of background. Rob, what I think is amazing about you and your team is that you started only 4 years ago in real estate and are on track to do $50 million in sales this year. And that's, I mean, for someone around 15, 20 years in the business, that's quite a feat. So congratulations on your success. It was really fun to interview Rob earlier as we talked about where he came from. Rob is a former, worked formerly in management with Cirque du Soleil, was in charge of opening new markets and new countries. He's a marketing guy. He comes from a marketing background and learned a lot of things from some brilliant marketers and has taken a lot of these ideas and thought processes and brought them into real estate and just decided he was going to start out being a superstar, and it's working out well for you. I really want you to know how much I appreciate you being here. Before you get in, we talk about real estate. Tell me what you loved about touring the world with Cirque du Soleil. What was that like?
No, it was a really great, education for me because, it really, I was still 25, 26 years old, and I toured the entire world. And on top of that, just learning some of the best marketers and negotiators in the world, because they know their business model, they know their business, and they know how to bring it to the consumer. And so I was able to work directly for some of the of the owner directly. So I was able to learn from the very, very best in that industry.
We could do a whole call and just talk about kind of your past life and what got you to where you are today, because I found it just fascinating, and I think you're an interesting guy, and I really appreciate you sharing what's working well for us in real estate. Do you mind sharing? Tell us a little bit about your team right now.
Yeah, so just back, I started my team 4 years ago. I've been in real estate for about 9 years now. And got actually, by coincidence into a team when somebody approached me and said, hey, I would like to be part of your team. I said, well, I haven't thought about it. I just had an executive assistant. And she said, well, if you don't try, you don't know. So before I knew, suddenly we had a whole group of people working with us. Right now, 2 buyer's agents, actually 3 buyer's agents now, 2 listing agents, 1 executive assistant, a marketing assistant, and also right now we just hired a social media manager, and we'll talk a little bit more later on. And then we're using 1 part-time ISA, and that's an inside sales agent.
Yeah, inside sales agent. A lot of times people don't know what ISA means, but that's one of the big hires we're doing with a lot of the teams we coach right now is we're developing and building that inside sales department so the agents can do what they do best, and that's show houses and negotiate contracts instead of following up with leads. And you get more of your people converted that way, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, it's probably we've been trying out different things with a virtual assistant, and we decided to bring somebody in local that was just working much better for us.
I'm a big fan of Ken Blanchard and the 1-Minute Negotiator, the 1-Minute Manager, and some of the other books that he's written. You brought this one to my attention the other day called Raving Fans. Say it's a must-read.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's probably one of the first books I read, in real estate, and it just captivated me. It's just about, Rob Levy just mentioned it earlier on it. It's, creating customers is not enough anymore, okay? But creating raving fans that are becoming part of your sales force and getting the referral business, that's what matters, to, walk the talk, but also to go a little mile further, and just do more than you're being expected of. And Raving Fans is just a great read.
Yeah, it is interesting that you talk about that. And I go to Vegas, 5 or 6 times a year for conferences, and it doesn't matter where you go or who you talk to. And you say, what show should I go see? Someone's telling you to go see one of the Cirque shows. I mean, you guys had an unbelievable, I don't know what you call it, group of raving fans.
Absolutely, because what they do is extraordinary, and that's what's create raving fans. And it's not just the performance itself; it's the moment you buy the ticket, the moment you walk through the concession stand, the moment you walk out of the show. Most people don't know, but most of the business is actually in Cirque du Soleil made with concessions and merchandising.
It's not the show tickets, huh?
It's just the show tickets. It's a good income, but it covers most of the operating expenses.
And so, when you're going and you're bringing a new show to a country, you said it was kind of a tough thing. How are you using the negotiation style and tactics you learned with the Cirque du Soleil in your real estate practice there in Palm Springs?
Well, when I had the opportunity to switch over to Cirque du Soleil, Cirque du Soleil had no name recognition in Europe at all. Nobody had ever heard of it. We had no media coverage. We had no marketing coverage. So the first 6 months, it was kind of very, very tough. All the vendors, they wanted to have cash payments, for delivery. And after, I think we got our first 6 months of marketing, it became much easier. And then probably after a year, we pretty much owned the entire market. When it came down to negotiations, we had this conversation before. We actually, some of the, of the vendors, at one particular product, we brought them all into one room at the same time. And we pitched our, product to them. Said, listen, how would you like to be associated with our product? And we told them what we were looking for, and then pretty much sent all three vendors back to their home plate and sent us an offer within the next week. And that's how we did it. And we were able literally to start a bidding war between those three vendors.
So how does that apply to what you're doing in real estate today?
Well, I think it just helps me to think outside of the box. I think, Cirque du Soleil, the product, the way they operate, it's just thinking outside of the box. Don't get stuck in the same process over and over again. The market changes, and I think that's what we have learned too. Nobody is recession-proof, including, companies like Cirque. And I think that's what we apply on a daily basis. We do like to keep changing. Today I was just listening to, Homes.com and Quicken Loans. I had no idea that they were offering these services. And that's what I'm looking for, to keep growing your business. And I think that's what I learned at Cirque is to keep growing your business and find new ideas. Go to these conferences. But I'm definitely going to log on to Homes.com and Quicken Loans today,
Yeah, I appreciate that. So get into technology with me for a little bit.
Yep.
Website, you're friends with Rob Levy. You have a Real Pro site. What do you love about it?
I do. Well, Real Pro Sam's, first of all, what I love about it is it's very cost effective. It's probably one of the companies out there that charges the least of them out there. They have an option to be mobile friendly. Rob mentioned it as well earlier. I was just reading an article a couple of days ago that on being mobile friendly. Well, right now, currently, with the millennium, the new group of home buyers in 10, 15 years from now, 92% of the teens are online daily. And 91% from the 92 is using a mobile device. So these are staggering numbers, and that's just only getting better and better. So if your site is not mobile friendly, you are going to be missing the boat. The home buyers are going to be searching their properties. The sellers are going to be researching the real estate agents on their phones, on their mobile devices. So I think mobile friendly is a must.
So Rob, we were talking, and you kind of threw me a curve. And everybody's talking about having a Facebook strategy, and it's all about Facebook retargeting and Facebook ads. Rob Levy just got done talking about how he posts and promotes and does things on Facebook, and you said something to the effect of, Facebook is crap, and you need to go to Instagram. And I remember being taken back by that because I've never really thought that before. You take me through your thought process on why Instagram, who they are, what they are, and why you think it's the future.
Well, I don't think Facebook is crap. We do the same thing as what Rob Levy does. We do target marketing on there as well. However, we don't post our open houses on there, or we try to stay away from it. People on Facebook, they don't come to your open houses. You know, post stuff that is community related. You know, community events on your church, on your school, on a street fair. However, in the last few months, we've done a lot of research, and Instagram is where I'm going to be putting my shining dollar. Instagram, currently, I think the entire millennium, the new age buyers, you know, are on Instagram. That's how they're going to be talking about. They communicate through Instagram. I think they communicate more through Instagram right now than through text messages. So I think if you want to be in business 10 years from now or 15 years from now, and I mean not just being in business, but killing the business, you need to start investing on Instagram. You need to get a footnote on Instagram. And I think, you know, Quicken Loans and Homes.com, they're already doing it. They have their own special teams already on there. They're getting it, you know, and that's where I think the future is going to lay.
Yeah, interesting. So what do you do with it? So I set up my Instagram account. You tell me to do 3 posts a day. It sparks a line of communication. What's the ultimate goal? What's a lot of followers to you?
So the ultimate goal, we just literally started a campaign just a few weeks ago. The ultimate goal is right now we're shooting for about 20,000 followers by the end of the year. And,
what happened to the 10,000? You went from 10,000 to 20,000. Your goal's doubled.
For sure, yeah. We had another conversation, but yeah, we are actually gonna hire some additional help to it because I think we really want to be at $20,000 by the end of the year. 10,000 is very doable. I do like to raise the bars, you know, from time to time, but we are definitely shooting for the 20,000 followers. But it's, you know, it comes to a point that you need to bring extra help in because it is time intensive.
Now you said you get more out of a $400 investment on Instagram than you do on $2,000 on Facebook. What do you mean by that? Where are you putting $400?
Well, I think I've hired a social media manager, and we're actually working on a product line actually for other real estate agents because I feel that that's where the future is going to be. You know, we as real estate agents, we're good in selling homes, okay? And we need to hire the right coaches and the right people into our lives to come to that next level, to break through that ceiling. So I hired for $400 a month a social media manager, and she actually posts 3 times a day to my Instagram account. She does, you know, she does a description on it, but she also do the algorithm writing, and again, that's a different thing. You know, hashtags, we all heard about it. It's to make sure that we are being found, you know, on top of, you know, on the food chain, and not on the bottom of the food chain. So, and sometimes
is this an example of what she does?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's one of them. And there's another app. Yeah, there's another app. And I think you probably have a slide coming up for that. So what we do is we use 2 apps. We use Instagram app, and we use it's called Tags for Likes. Tags for Likes. There you go. Again, a free version. So we use those Tags for Likes to find those hashtags that are really popular for that particular day. And we copy and paste it. It's super easy to use. I mean, it's free and it's awesome. It's an awesome app to use.
So help me understand what it is. So you said it's
Go back
tags
one
for
slide.
likes. Does that mean I'm buying likes?
No. So tags for likes, yeah, pretty much. You are buying the likes. You know, the tag systems is what currently, you know, people using to find related things they're searching for. So, for example, if you like musical, if you're looking for the best song of the day, you probably do hashtag music of the day or song of the day, and then boom, you know, everything will spit out what the most likes it has. So,
I may lose my screen for just a moment here.
Okay. So finding those hashtags, what are important for that day, we're using that app. It's called Tags for Likes.
We'll
literally
right
copy and paste that. Yeah.
Hang on one second.
So once we have that app open on Tags for Likes, we just search, for example, home shot of the day, and then it will automatically spit out the hashtags that people are using to find the best home shots for the day. And then we literally copy and paste that and put it onto our Instagram description box.
Yeah, what's this one called? Architecture porn here, Rob.
Yeah.
Great architecture, huh? I love it. Tags for Likes, never heard of that before. I think that's great. You also mentioned something you're doing with video that's kind of changing the way you're presenting properties. Tell me what Periscope is and how that works.
Yeah. So, this was actually created by Twitter. And I think Periscope is going to be one of the hottest things out there. We're still beta testing this thing. Some friends of mine are using it, and they are extremely successful with it. Some of them have somewhere between 60 and 70,000 followers. These are big numbers if you're talking about it. But Periscope is a broadcast channel. You can pretty much broadcast anything you want, the morning rush hour or, your open house. And I think Periscope is an app or a platform that a lot of realtors have not heard about it yet. And we're literally beta testing how to apply this to our business. So we are really planning to use Periscope to start interviewing like what we do here today, our home inspector or our insurance guy, our plumber, our electrician, really to broadcast. You can literally turn your own real estate channel up here. And Periscope is the coolest thing. If you have never seen it, you got to log on and you got to try it out because it's the coolest thing. And also, people in your neighborhood, they see that you are online and they can ask you questions while you're online, and you can communicate with them as well. And it's free of charge.
It's so cool. Yeah, I know. I told my whole team to go play with it, so we're going to be playing with it and look and checking it out. And it's a Twitter company, right?
It's a Twitter company, yeah, and I think they did a phenomenal job. And literally, you have people from all over the world logging into your Periscope while you're live and asking you questions. It is absolutely the coolest interactive app that's out there. And I think for real estate, I think it's going to be one of the game changers.
Awesome. So you don't just do Instagram. You're not just doing Twitter and Periscope. You still spend a little bit of money with Facebook, and you've got specific things you're doing with part of that strategy.
Absolutely, yeah. So we do the same thing as what Rob Levy said earlier. We have those ads going on Facebook, and I don't think necessarily they bring us instant business, but it definitely helps us if we go to a listing appointment because it is as important as sending those farm cards out. I mean, we do a lot of farming as well, but I think having a presence on Facebook, I think right now currently, was reading the other day again, 63% of Facebook and Twitter users are getting their news feed from social media. 63%. Not directly from the TV. No, they get the news feed from social media. So these are big numbers, and it just keeps going up. So we're always going to be part of Facebook. We always continue posting ads to Facebook. But again, I think we talked about earlier, I don't like to post things about the real estate business. I really like only to post about community events. They will recognize, your Zwemmer Realty Group logo. But if so long you come from a level of contribution, you're gonna reap a lot of benefits out of that, and you're gonna get a lot of more likes than just posting your open house on it.
Awesome. So you've stopped the TV radio stuff, huh?
The TV radio stuff are definitely on hold right now, yeah.
Because of what's happening. All right. So what is hyperlinking? You made a big deal about hyperlinking and driving organic traffic. Tell me about that.
So hyperlinking is it's a predefined search link. So on one of my websites we have community sites, and we have, for example, click here for properties between $500 and $1 million. And if you click on that link, then instantly for that particular neighborhood, you go through all the listings between $500 and $1 million. And again, you can use your IDX platform to create those hyperlinks. And hyperlinks are massive. It took us almost 8 to 10 months to create about 6,000 hyperlinks on our site. However, it just puts you right on top of the food chain. It's a big, big deal. So, and you get a lot of organic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about high volume lead generation, doing pay-per-click. You've done a lot of that in the past, but you've pulled that back, scaled it back. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, the pay-per-click, you really need to know what you're doing with pay-per-click. I'm still doing some pay-per-click, but not as much as what we've done in the past. When we started with pay-per-click, we had Real Pro Systems actually created that for us. Our leads costing us about $7 per lead, and we needed about 28 leads to create one sale. So, however, in the last few years, more and more people jumped on companies like Tiger Leads and Boomtown came in play. So the competition went up. So now our leads are costing us $35, and it's just getting too expensive for us. And if you need, 20, 30 leads to make one sale, you can, calculate the cost out for yourself. So, but it's still important. This is a good example of those hyperlinks, the slide you see right now. So if you click on that slide, or probably not, so if you click on one of those boxes from 900 to 1 million, you'll see all the homes instantly between 900 and 1 million. Of course, we have community videos on there too. I think it's really, really important. And they instantly play on your site. It's not going to take you back to a YouTube channel or Vimeo, but it's going to play directly on your site. You want to have the consumer keeping on your site. So it's instantly there. People don't have to search too far, and they get instant gratification. So, and those are hyperlinks.
Yeah, so you're a big farmer. Talk to me about farming.
Farming is a good thing. We are very technology savvy, and a friend of mine out of Washington, D.C., he actually lost a listing because he was too much in technology. And the owners didn't understand that. So being tangible and farming still works. So farming postcards, we send them out at least once a month, and then some communities, they get it twice a month.
Your stuff is very sharp. Yeah, I just think it's very professional. It's laid out nice, and you give good value as well as promote yourself.
Yeah, so farming is still a big, big technology. All over the country, we're still seeing big, big successes about it. And not only that, Palm Springs area, most of the homeowners, they're out of state. So being in front of them, Facebook won't put me in front of them, only when they are here during the season. So farming postcards to different states, where the homeowners reside for the summer months is extremely important to us. That's how we stay in front of them 24/7 all year long.
Well, it looks great. Other quick tips on lead generation. We're kind of past the top of the hour, but I want you. I don't want to run out of time. Tell me what some of the things are working.
Vulcan 7, absolutely amazing product to use for expires. Expires work very, very well, and Vulcan 7 is definitely the way to go for it. Postcard farming. We were fortunate to take over an on-site sales office on a golf course here in Indian Wells, California. That is doing extremely well. So we have some different areas from raving fans to referrals to on-site sales office to farming postcards to technology farming, social media farming fills that funnel that we need.
Well, one of the things I asked you about your unfair advantage when you go into a listing. How do you really show your value? You're in a marketplace where there's big agents out there.
We sure do. And one of the things that we did is we actually took our listing presentation, hired a graphic designer, and Elance is a great site to do that. And the PDF slides, we had a graphic designer turn that into a video, and then we had a voiceover creating a narration off for it. So we turned our listing presentation into an online video presentation, and we actually email those out before we go on a listing presentation. And also, because of most of our homeowners, again, are out of state or second homeowners here, it's a great way and very cheap to get in front of them.
And anybody can actually go and look at we can go look at that on your website, can't we?
Yeah, you do. I think it's Desert Marketing Plan. It's on the front page on the sellers. It's called Our Marketing Plan.
And what's your website address?
The website is desertonline.com.
Desertonline.com. I love it. So just as a recap, get into Instagram. Be the first to get to know how to do it. Set up and then find someone that can help you with content to make it really powerful. Lots of stuff on video that you do. I love the video stuff that you're done, and I love the idea of using. You mentioned an online service. What did you call it?
Well, we're going on which online service are you talking about? On Instagram?
The one that did your video editing.
Oh, it's called elance.com.
Oh, Elance. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, elance.com. Great source for marketing, copywriters, ghostwriters, whatever you need for marketing products. It's right on there.
Well, crazy amount of information today. We've learned about web strategy, social media, being mobile friendly, knowing that we've got phenomenal partners in Quicken Loans and Homes.com. Just a lot of cool things today. I'm going to, because it's a little bit after the hour, I want to tell everybody where they can download a copy of this presentation. They can also get Rob Zwemmer's marketing postcards, his listing presentation, and Rob Lever's home marketing selling plan. Go to workmansuccess.com/tech. And that's the title of today's call, where you can download this Risk Media Agent webinar series. You'll get these free gifts, and we'll take time afterwards to respond to the questions that you've typed in on your question bar on that same blog site. On behalf of Risk Media and Quicken Loans and Homes.com, I want to thank everybody for being here, and a special thanks goes out to Rob Levy and Rob Zwemmer for spending their time sharing with us what's working. To all of you, have a continued great summer and continued success. We'll see you all on the next Risk Media Agent webinar series. Thanks everybody for being here today, and we'll talk to you all soon.